The great thing about finance is you can refinance. It's actually really uncommon for an investor to get one type of finance for a property and that's it. That's very, very uncommon. So in normal circumstances, I'm led to believe to now only through hanging out more investors is most people are refinancing every few years they're refinancing something, or every 5 we'll say. It's common to do that because better products come out, your position changes, you're going to want to do things with your finance because the finance component is huge. So initially 30% deposit, principal and interest loan. They didn't like interest only for this as well, just as an FYI.
I was going to say, I don't think so.
It's funny in hindsight, but I was like, they pretty much saying they don't want to lend for this property. That's what they're doing. They're putting up the barriers because they didn't want it on their books, or they're going to take a premium or de-risk it. So after about, I'm going to say 6 months, the property we'd had it a while, we were settled, we had all our tenancy and everything was running smooth. We actually refinanced that with a different lender because they were much happier with that type of loan. So we moved from one to another, just another Big Four bank. That Big Four bank, we did a 20% deposit and an 80% loan, and we just put it on principal and interest again. So we had it on a P&I loan, that's called. Now, in doing that, we got $60,000 cash back because we went back to the 20% deposit, and I actually used that $60,000 to buy another property down the road, which I'm sure we'll dissect that investment at some point. But that's why I moved it back to 80%, is that it was just, I was holding so much of my capital in this property, and I was like, well, why? We don't need to do that. It's cash flow positive. We can utilize our capital better. In recent times, though, what I've actually done is change the loan again. So we had to refinance the loan to make it interest only. And there's a reason for this, which I'll get into. Actually, we'll just go there now. Like, why not?
Do it.
So we went interest only. So just to break that one down, so rather than paying principal to the bank every month, I've put it on interest only for the next 5 years. And I'll describe why. Number one is when you have a loan on interest only, that principal payment now you get to keep in your bank account. So I want that cash available to me so that I get to decide how it's used. If I want to pay the principal off, I still can, but I would just prefer to have the control of it so that I have options. So if I do want to use it on business this month, I can. But then the other side of things, if any maintenance and repairs were to come up, I've now got a lot more cash flow disposable to me to deal with that ongoingly, which I think is a really, really handy way to think it. It's less risky if you have more cash flow available to you to handle situations. So completely. That is my view. There's also something in Australia called offset accounts, where you can actually have an account tied to this loan. And if you have money sitting in that account, the bank only calculates the interest based on the net result of those two accounts. And we'll probably talk about them later, but they're such a powerful tool because if you, in this example, if you had a loan for, we'll just use a rounding example. If you have a loan for $500,000, but you've got $100,000 in the offset account, well, they're only going to charge you interest on $400,000. So there's just so many advantages to having more flexibility with your finances like that.
And also understanding that as well, which is where I know through my investment journey, these were the conversations that I've researched, but also Aaron's given me some deep insights into of just going, right. So to your point, if I just held on to, and didn't, like if I just had interest only, held on to the principal in my hand, put it into the offset account and just left it there, right? So I'm not paying the interest on the loan because it's obviously offset to your calculation of the $100,000 in cash sitting there. I only get interest on $400,000. I'm like, and then if I did want to pay it down, okay, I just pick it up and just move it into the loan account. Like, well, who doesn't explain these things? Like, and I was like, that's just so logical. As opposed to, is it because I'm just that bad at budgeting that the bank just has to say, I'm going to take the principal from you?
Yes. In summary, yes.
And so, like, when someone explained that, which was Aaron, I'm just like, it's like the most obvious thing of just going, yeah, okay, I completely get you. And so when you did the first refinance, it sounds like it was the same amount. So Correct. It was a 620. Okay, so the property might have gone up. Just for everyone listening, one of the things that I mistakenly did in a property was I had a fixed interest. Because on your second refinance, did you take any money out? Because in one of my properties, I got a fixed interest only loan, which means that I cannot refinance without paying some fees to get out, etc. for, I think it's about 2 or 3 years.
Right? Do you know what's so funny? I think the marketing of fixed rates is done so well because everyone's like, oh, you're just locking in your rate. No, you're locking in your loan. If you need to refinance or change anything, yes, they've locked in the rate, but there's also immense fees. Like I've heard of people having to pay like 30 grand to refinance a property because they broke the contract on their fixed rate.
Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all and you want to dive deeper into wealth creation, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the post right now.